everybody. Welcome to episode 31 of the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast. My name is Lisa, and I am coming to you from Long Island, New York, on a cloudy day in July. Oh my goodness, you guys, you all came through for me. I've got over 2,000 subscribers now. That is just so exciting. I started this podcast in November and just kind of on a whim. I just felt like chatting about my knitting, and I had no idea if any of you guys would want to hear anything that I had to say, but I needed somebody to talk to about my knitting. My husband puts up with it pretty well, but he's not a knitter, so it's just, there's nothing quite like sharing my love of this craft with a whole bunch of other people who get it. So thank you guys so much for subscribing. I am going to have to figure out a giveaway now that I have hit my next milestone. So stay tuned for that. Over the next couple of episodes, I'm going to come up with something to give away and have a specific announcement for that. So that is really exciting news. I've got some other promising news as well. So let's head on into Knitworthy. Okay, so last week I shared with you guys that my mother-in-law had emergency surgery, and unexpectedly, obviously, and she struggled for more than a week to wake up from the surgery out of a vegetative state. She did wake up into a minimally conscious state. I kind of gave her a little bit of hell for sleeping for a week, and I was like, Mary, as somebody who likes to sleep a lot, I'm just telling you, a week is too long, and it's time to wake up now. So it was I was kind of responsible for helping to urge her out of that vegetative state. But we weren't really sure if she was going to progress further. And I have some good news. I mean, we don't have a lot of news, but we can share that last weekend they were successfully able to get her off of the ventilator. They had her on oxygen, a different kind of oxygen mask, for a day or two, and then now she's not on any oxygen at all, and she is eating a little bit of some mushy peaches and mushy things like that. She's aware, and she's working now with some therapists. Yesterday they moved her into LTAC, so she's doing okay. We've not been able to speak to her since we left Florida. We haven't been able to FaceTime with her or anything. So we're just getting updates from my husband's stepdad, and I know that Mary really. She's a really strong supporter of my podcast, so hopefully she will get well enough and be watching these again soon. And so it seems like we do have a road now of some sort. It's going to be very curvy and windy and hilly and bumpy, but there is a road toward recovery as it is looking right now. So we are very cautiously optimistic. And so I wanted to just thank all of you guys who reached out and sent your prayers and well wishes toward my mother-in-law. It has meant a lot to both my husband and I. And so I'm excited that she's on this road to recovery, because I can continue working on her shawl. I didn't work on it at all since the last episode, because trying to finish up some test knits, which are still in progress. But right before she unexpectedly went into the hospital, she had purchased some gorgeous yarn from Miss Tabitha over at Long Island Yarn and Farm. By the way, for any of you guys who are local, when this episode comes out on Sunday, she will be having her open house. So that's Sunday, August 1st. So any of you guys on Long Island that happen to be watching this, we are going to be stopping by at some point. At least that's the plan as of right now. So maybe I will see some of you there. Stephanie, I am hoping to see you there. So I'm gonna message you and maybe we can coordinate a time if you're able to go. Because it's been a while. But yeah, so I had just finished showing her that I picked up the yarn that she ordered so that I could knit her this shawl. And it's a beautiful sport weight alpaca silk blend. And I believe that this is the Earthshine colorway. It's brown with specks of light blue in there. And it is really pretty. And so I'm about a third of the way done with it. And I plan to just keep working on it. So I'm excited to be able to hopefully now actually be able to give this to her in its completed state. So please, the road to her recovery is still, it's going to be very, very bumpy and long, very long. So if you guys could continue to pray for her and just send us some good thoughts, that would continually be appreciated very much. Okay, so no finished objects to share with you guys today, so we're gonna move right on into whips. Those birds are noisy. Okay, so, hi. Okay, so, seriously guys? Seriously? Okay, so the first whip that I would like to share with you today is a brand spanking new pattern from Annie Lupton over at Boho Chic Fiber Co. And it is called Lola Chic, and this is a collaboration that she did with Lola Bean Yarn Company, who came up with a special colorway for Annie in her yarn. So I will insert a picture of Annie's completed sweater here so that you guys can see that colorway, and you guys can always snatch that up from Adela, I think her name is, over at Lola Bean Yarn Company. But I am knitting mine in Wonderland Yarns Alice DK base, and this is the Kerfluffle colorway, and it is just very me. It is very, very, very pretty. It is like kind of like a grayish white. I don't know. I feel like you can't see like the gray color that well, but it's like this grayish white colorway. Like it's almost cream, but there's like a hint of gray, something like that. And then there's like a whole lot of beautiful like jewel toned colored speckles all over throughout. So Annie designed this pattern specifically for a nice variegated speckly yarn. So I snatched up several skeins of that Kerfluffle colorway, and I am now at the point where I have just split to work the front and back, the top, front, and back portions separately to work those flat. So I've got the back of the sweater is just plain stockinette. So the bottom is knitting around. And so this is what the back looks like. And I've got that on a stitch holder. And then the front of the sweater has this gorgeous, really fun to knit textured stitch pattern with some mini cables, some little baby cables on either side of the textured stitch. And so this is going to sit, I guess, kind of this length. I knit mine a little bit longer so that it wouldn't be, well, the back is hanging down because it's on a stitch holder, but yeah, so I've got to do the front now and then the back, and then it's got long sleeves. So it's like a boxy cropped sweater. So I will be working on this. I want to get it done soon, just because I kind of want to work through my current whips. I feel like I've been on the same projects for kind of a while now, and part of that is because we had family stuff happening this month, and part of it is just because I've been doing a lot of dyeing and spinning and some other things, and it's kind of hot, and I've not been doing as much knitting as I'm able to do, actually, also because Owen is home from school for the summer. So I get a lot of knitting done while he is in school and he's home. So my knitting time is a bit less for a few months. But I really want to finish up this sweater and the other one that I have going on for Annie, which I will show you in a minute. But I just wanted to let you guys know that the Lola Chic sweater has been released last Tuesday. And you guys can go purchase that now if this is a sweater that you might be interested in knitting. I think it's super cute. If you've got some DK weight speckled yarn, this is a perfect pattern for that because you can really see the stitch pattern. It shows up really, really well. So I think it's really fun. Usually if there's a stitch pattern, I try to knit in something a little bit more solid or tonal kind of yarn. But it's a very easy stitch pattern, and it's not very complex, so it still pops really well and just gives that added dimension of interest to the sweater. So go on over and purchase that pattern from Annie. And she's got another one which I have made some more progress on as well. So I'm gonna dig that one out next, and that's another one that you guys can go purchase. It is called Summer Folk. So let me get that one out. I am usually much better about having my test knits finished, but yeah, with the emergency in the family, it just wasn't possible, and Annie was so great and understanding, and yeah, so I'm just excited to keep working on these and get them done so that I can happily wear them. Okay, so the Summer Folk sweater is actually temporarily off the needles because last night, I finished the front and I did the seaming, the 3-needle bind off to connect the front and the back together. So, oh my goodness, I wonder if I can like put this over my head. I can probably mess up my hair, but this is how it is currently fitting on me. So it's so cute. I love this little flower / honeycomb pattern in the front. It's so pretty. And then you can see it is cropped, but not super cropped. I'm so glad that I did the gauge swatches, because if I had knit this based on like my first swatch, it would be kind of up to here. And that is several inches, and that's like barely past my boobs. And for me, that's just not enough of a sweater. I need more sweater than that. Some of you all look super cute, showing your tummies and all that stuff. It's not a look that works for me anymore at the moment. It used to when I was about 20 years younger. Yeah, so the it's so cute. There's a boat neck neckline, which I happen to really love. It's just, I did the Easley sweater that I test knit for Annie, had this like same exact construction, and I love the way it fits. I wear it all the time. So the next thing that I have to do is stitch together the sides up until the arms. So then I will have, this is the first time I put the sweater on. It's super cute. I really like it. Yeah, so not quite a finished object, but we are getting within the ballpark. So you guys, I'm just gonna leave this on for a second. I'm a little bit concerned. Why might I be a little bit concerned? I don't have that much yarn left. And all right, so the sleeves are short sleeves. They're only like this much sleeve. So I want to show you what I have left to work with. It's not a lot. I divided it equally so that I would have the same amount for both sleeves, but you guys, this is all that I have left. This is it. Now, thankfully, I have 2 swatches. So each sleeve is going to get one of these little bits of yarn and one of my swatches I'm gonna have to undo. I mean, technically, based on the gauge, which I did like 4 swatches for this sweater. Guys, I don't swatch. I swatched 4 times for this sweater. Also another reason why it's not finished, because I spent so much time swatching. So I've got 2 swatches and I've got 2 little bits of yarn. So I don't know, you guys, I'm hoping that, the swatch isn't gonna go around my whole arm. I don't know about this. I feel like the sleeves might have to be a little bit shorter than intended. I just don't know. I'm kind of nervous. And of course, because this is the yarn that I naturally dyed myself with oak leaves, I don't have any more of it. Like, this is all that I have. I can make more, but I don't have any more of this base of this yarn that I dyed it on. It wouldn't look the same. I mean, this is what I've got to work with, and that's it. And technically, I had enough yardage according to the size that I'm knitting for the pattern. So at this point, I am crossing my fingers and I'm crossing all of my toes, and because I also need yarn to seam, right? I've got to seam up each side, so I need yarn to do the seaming, and then I need to do the sleeves. I don't know. I mean, it probably would look cute with some like unfinished sleeves if I had to leave it just sleeveless, but I think I'd rather have some sleeves. So we might be making much shorter sleeves than the pattern calls for. You guys pray for me for this sweater too, because I did 4 swatches. I did 2 swatches, obviously, with this yarn, and I did 2 with a different yarn. I did 5 swatches. Yeah, I did 5 because I swatched also with my pine cone yarn when I was thinking of maybe using that, and then we decided that the color was gonna make me look naked, so I wasn't gonna use that one. So I did 5 swatches for this sweater. 5. That's a lot. It's beautiful. It's turning out absolutely, exactly, perfectly. I'm so excited about it. I'm just really concerned. So let's bring it on. The game of yarn chicken is about to commence. Seriously, for real. Okay, so that is my summer folk sweater. So this pattern came out a week and a half ago. So if you guys are interested in this sweater, it is a fingering weight yarn, and yeah, it is gorgeous. I love these textured stitch patterns that she does. She's coming out with a whole series of them, and I pretty much want to knit every single one. So she's got some that she's done in worsted weight yarn, and like this one is fingering weight yarn. So the Earth Folk was the other one that you guys had seen me do, and I should have swatched for that one because my gauge was also really small, but I thankfully was able to block the crap out of that one and get it to fit me. Another reason why I definitely did a gauge swatch for this, 5 gauge swatches, because I wanted to know that it was going to work. So I'm super thrilled with how this one is coming out. It is just delightful. Just pray, please, all of you, for my mother-in-law and for my yarn chicken situation, because I'm a little stressed. And I just dropped something because it's the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast. I have one more whip to share with you guys today, and there's a cat currently laying on the bag that it is in. So excuse me while I disrupt a sleeping cat. The cat was fittingly sleeping on my kitty cat bag. So this was a bag that I got from Fiberspace before the pandemic. No, I went to Fiberspace before the pandemic. I ordered the bag a few months ago. So, okay, in this bag is my Bright Axis tee And you guys, it's gonna look the same, but we have made progress because I have reached a very important part of this. All right. Oh no, don't fall off stitches. All right. My Bright Axis tee, you guys, is 11 inches now. I promise it's 11 inches. I can stretch it there too, but it is now 11 inches. And it's a little past 11 inches. And this is important. You know why this is important? Because this is the length it needs to be for me to split for the front and the back. I am so excited. I thought it was gonna be a little bit longer, but after reading the pattern, I understand what is happening now. So in the next part of this pattern, after I split for the front and the back, there is some short row shaping still in this main color of the body. And so it's gonna add a little bit of height up here, but yeah, I don't know. And then, so there's gonna be some short row shaping, and then maybe about like an inch or something like this, 1.5 inches, 2 inches of short row shaping. And it kind of curves the way that the short rows are done, so it adds a little bit more to this section here, but not to the under the armhole part, I think, which is really smart and clever. And then after I split and do the short row shaping, I'm gonna be able to use my rainbow yarn and start the fun stripey part. You guys, I'm so excited. So, in case some of you guys haven't been watching me endlessly knit purple stockinette in the round for like months now, I'm gonna show you the pattern. So this is from the Knit Happy with Self-Striping yarn book. I have it linked below almost every video where I have talked about this pattern. So if you are interested in this book, which I highly recommend, you guys can just link to it right below. But the one that I am knitting is this one. And so I want to show you what I'm talking about with the shaping. So I'm about here. And do you see how there's short row shaping to give you a little bit more body color in this section right here, but not also over here. So I think that's really clever, the way that she has designed that. So I'm getting so close now, you guys, to using my beautiful yarn. So I'm gonna show you guys that. This is the August 2020 colorway from Julia over at Knitterly Things of her Vesper Sock Yarn Club. And the August 2020 colorway is called Squash Blossoms. And so this is what I have chosen to go with this beautiful purple yarn, which is a naturally dyed yarn that Fiber Share people gifted me from when my partner didn't send me anything. Gotta love when you get partners that don't follow through. But it worked out really well because I said, hey, I like purple. Hey, I like naturally dyed yarn. And so they ordered this yarn from Knit Picks, which was naturally dyed by somebody who I can't remember, but this is using logwood. So, oh my gosh, I would love to get my hands on some logwood. I know I can just order all this stuff, but I just really like foraging. Foraging is really fun. But I know that there are some things I'm not going to be able to find in my area, so I will order those things at some point. But, all right, so these are gonna look so beautiful together, and it is almost August, and I think I'm finally gonna get to dig into the August 2020 colorway in August 2021. So, oh my gosh, next podcast you guys might actually see this yarn and things happening with the Bright Axis tee. It has seemed like I've just been showing you purple stockinette for months, and I have. So we are getting close. We are approaching beautiful stripe goodness here. I'm so happy because I love purple, and I love some mindless stockinette in the round, but it doesn't really give you a lot to talk about on the podcast. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully there will be a development with this into the skein of yarn next podcast. Okay guys, that is everything for my whips. That's all the knitting I've done this week. As I said, Owen is home for the summer, so I don't have as much daytime knitting time as I do when he is in school. And I have been doing a lot of natural dyeing, and we have been doing a lot of foraging together. I do have, I'll show you my spinning update really quick, because that is another one that is getting really, really close to plying. We are almost there, you guys. All right, so let's get the spinning out. Okay, so spinning, I haven't been doing too much of it this week, but I've made a little bit more progress. This is my Iris colorway of Frabjous fibers. It's so pretty. It's a Polworth wool top, and the color is Iris. I mean, you can see it looks exactly like Iris. So this, I had divided it into 4 sections, and I have made 3 singles so far. And so I am working on my final single, and then I'm going to ply these together. And I have to spin this really quickly because it's about to break. So excuse me while I do a quick little bit of spinning. But yeah, so I've just been not really spinning that much. I usually spin outside, and it's just kind of been hot out, so I just haven't been coming out here to spin as much recently. But I really definitely want to push and get this last single done, because I really want to ply this and see what the yarn is going to look like, because the singles are just so beautiful. But I'm knitting this pretty fine, so I'm also thinking I might get a fingering weight out of it. So I don't think I've ever spun a fingering weight yarn before, but I'm pretty consistently very thin and fine with my spinning on this one. So yeah, so I mean, it's not that much fiber left to get through, so I'm gonna try to push through, and maybe I'll actually spin for a while today when I'm done recording this podcast, because it's a pretty nice day out here. So I think I will do that. But yeah, as always, recently I have had so much natural dyeing things to talk about, so let's head on into natural dyeing so that I can share all of the new stuff with you guys. Okay, so as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Owen is home for the summer, which means that I am spending a lot of daytime time with my wonderful son. And I have been really enjoying taking him out for walks in the woods and exploring new to me areas of Long Island, because I've never walked in the woods. It's just something that I have never done. This is brand new territory for me, and I am absolutely loving it. I could just spend all day out in the woods. Who knew? Foraging is like so much fun. It is so much fun. So let's see, my husband had a really, really long work day on Sunday, and we only have one car, so he works out in the other end of the island, in the other county. And so I said, you know what, you're not doing anything with the car while you're at work, and it's just no fun being stuck here without a car with a 6-year-old all day long. And just, you need things to break up the day, right? So we went out early on Sunday morning, and I'm not a morning person at all, but this was fun. So we hitched a ride to work with him, and then he went into work, and we took the car, and Owen and I explored 2 different places in Huntington, which is the town that he and I both work in, except I work now from my basement and not at the college in Huntington. So once upon a time, I actually went to work and saw my students in person. It's been a really long time though since I have actually gone to the building where I actually do work. Anyway, so we went out with him. We went to 2 different places, and at the very first place that we went to, it was like this really secluded little county park. Like, there is a sign, it belonged to the county, but it was like squished in the middle of this like upper middle class suburban neighborhood. You would not know that there was like all of these like trails back there or anything. So it was really secluded and really quiet. We only encountered one other couple there walking the woods and their 2 dogs, and the whole rest of the time it was like just me and Owen walking in the woods, which I really enjoyed. But Owen prefers to see other people. He does not yet have faith in me that I'm not going to get us lost. And so at one point he was convinced that we were lost, and he started crying, and then he wasn't having any fun anymore. And I was like, dude, it is like mid-morning on a Sunday. I have an amazing cell signal. Your daddy knows exactly where we are. So even if we were to get lost, we're findable. Like, it's not that big a place. It's like there's still so many more hours of daytime. Your daddy knows where we are. I've got a cell signal. Like, it's gonna be fine. Mommy's gonna find the way back. And I did. This kid, in a few years, he's gonna be laughing that like he was so scared of walking in the woods. But I don't know. I think it's super fun, and he likes it too. He just gets a little bit weary when we've been walking for a while, and he starts like feeling like we're lost, even when we're not. So we were never lost. I just kept turning down new paths because I just wanted to keep seeing what else we might find. Anyway, so I'm glad that we did, because I came across some birch trees, which I had not yet come across on any of my treks into the woods. And so I've got like this one's kind of a little rotted here, but these 3 are in really good condition. And birch, I know that you can use birch wood to dye yarn. So I snagged these. So I just have to kind of chop them up into smaller bits, and I'm gonna look forward to doing a dye experiment with the birch at some point. The great thing about working with wood is like you can chop it up and save it. You don't have to use it right away. Like some other things like flowers are more delicate. If you don't dry them out, you really do have to use them right away. So this is at least something that I can take a little bit of time with and not have to immediately get to it. But I'm so glad to have my hands on a little bit of birch to play around with. So that was something that we found. And before I get into what I found at the second place, let's talk about my jars. I have already left these open for a little bit today and oxidized them. So this one I'm not really gonna shake up too much, because this one just really leaks. Every single time I shake it up, this one leaks. But I don't know if you guys can see like how deep a reddish color we're getting here now. If you look around the lid, you can kind of see that a little bit better. But we're going on about 2 months now of this lichen jar, so probably 1 more month, maybe 6 weeks, that one will be ready. I'm just waiting for it to turn the right shade of purple. And then these 2 here, I can go ahead and shake these because these are super secure. These 2 are really starting to turn reddish much more as well. So this is about 3 or 4 weeks later. I put the ammonia and water. So it's half ammonia, half water, and then lichen. So this is what you're not seeing in the jar is all of the lichen right here. And so this one is from the same day, the end of June. So this one is looking pretty much the same. Those reddish bubbles there. So this is looking really promising. And then I had enough ammonia left. I need to get some more now. But I had enough ammonia left to start 2 more jars, which I just did like 2 days ago. So you'll see the difference. Like these bubbles are still very yellow. There's not at all of that reddish pinkish tint in there. So I decided to add the ammonia water solution to 2 more jars to get those going. So this is from the exact same day. So this is going to be at the exact same state as the last one. And then I still have 3 jars of lichen that I need to go get more ammonia. And well, this one's only about half full. This one, I'll show you guys. So I've got some really big pieces, but this is the type of lichen that I have in there. I just got a lichen book out of the library so that I can learn to identify more lichen, because I know that multiple types of lichen will give you color. And so then this is what the back of it looks like. So that's what is in all of these jars. And I know that this has a specific name, but I don't know what it is. So yeah, I'm trying to look for things other than lichen on these little trips that Owen and I take, just because I already have collected so much of it. But I'm really glad to realize how easy it is to find if you just go into the woods. So you might not find it so easily on the ground in your neighborhood if you live just in suburbia land like we do. So it seems like a little bit harder thing to get at first, when I was just waiting for a storm and waiting for branches to fall off the trees and lichen along with it, but it's actually really, really common. Lichen is everywhere, and if you just go into the woods, it's actually super easy to find some amazing pieces of lichen. So I'm trying not to pick up as much lichen these days, just like some super good specimens. Let's see, the other thing Owen and I have been finding, we found a whole bunch of oak galls, so I am continuing to add to my oak gall collection. He is so good at spotting oak galls everywhere that we go. So usually every time we go out now, we find at least a handful of oak galls in the woods. And so I'm continuing to build that collection there, so that I can try those out as a mordant one time. And then I did something else that I am excited to share with you guys. I started an iron solution here. See if I can like hold it so you guys can see. So another thing that we picked up in the woods and around the neighborhood was rusty things. So even though you shouldn't be finding rusty things in the woods, we did. So anytime we found something particularly rusty, we took some things, and then I had enough little rusty bits of things to put in a jar and start an iron solution. So to do that, you fill the jar with 2/3 vinegar, white vinegar, and 1/3 water, and you add your rusty bits. And I took a little video because I was so I don't know, it's just a chemistry reaction, right? But I took chemistry classes, even I took one in college, but I was never a chemistry person. So this is all like pretty new to me. But right away after shaking the jar, like just to see the rust come off and to see the fizzing happening inside the jar, it was so cool. And I wasn't expecting that to happen. So I'm not gonna shake this one because obviously there's some pretty heavy things and this is glass. But that's all rust floating around in there. So I guess after sitting in the jar for, I think it has to be at least 2 weeks, but another thing that I read said like 6 weeks is better. I don't know. But after probably a month of having this in the jar, I'm gonna have an iron mordant, I guess it's a mordant modifier. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm gonna have iron solution, which you need to be very careful with when dealing with wool because it can make the wool feel brittle. But you only need like a couple of tablespoons to add into your dye bath and it will modify the color. Or you can add it, you can like add the iron solution, I guess right into the dye bath when you're like done using it, and it'll change to a different color, and then I can take yarns that I have already dyed if I want to and see what color they change. So we'll see. I might be doing some experimenting with iron modifying some of my naturally dyed yarns. So I think it's really cool that I can just make all of this stuff with things that I find. It's so cool. So I just mixed up my iron solution, and so what I did was I took some rusty things and mixed it in a jar with 1/3 water, 2/3 vinegar, and some rusty things that we found. And look at that. That is so cool. So I'm going to be using this as a mordant. This is my iron mordant solution. It'll be ready in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to use that to modify the color on some of my naturally dyed yarn. So I am making my own iron mordant. That is so cool. Okay, so I have more. I have more things to share with you guys for the dyeing. Let's see, there's still more things that I dyed. But I want to start with updating you guys. I did, all right, let me dig this out first. I just brought my box of all my yarn right now. Okay, so that's a plane. So last podcast, I showed you guys some really amazing yellow yarn that I dyed with fresh leaves from this mulberry tree right here. And I got this amazing color of yellow. It's so strong. It's so pretty. I'm not even usually a yellow person, but there's so much color in here. So I dyed 4 skeins of this, and this is a sock yarn. It's 80% wool, 80% nylon. So it's merino wool, 80% wool, merino, 20% nylon, fingering weight yarn. So I have 4 of these, and I had saved, before we had to go down to Florida, I had dyed this right then. And so I had all of this color left in the dye bath, and I didn't want to dump it because this color turned out to be so amazing. So I put it in like 6 or 7 mason jars, and I put it in a little fridge that we have in a basement, and I saved it. And so I did a second dye bath since the last podcast, and I wanted to show you, look at this pale yellow that I got. Like, it's kind of blowing out on camera right now. It looks so light. I don't really know how well that's showing up. I feel like it's blowing out on the camera, but you can see how deep this one is, and then these turned out so pale. I'm gonna take a picture because I just feel like this is just a bright light on the camera right now, but it came out so pretty and just like a completely different shade of yellow from exactly the same dye bath. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'll take a picture and I will insert that right here so that you guys have a more accurate idea of what the color looked like. So this was a sock yarn, and then these two pale yellow versions, I did 2 of each skein. So this one is a blend of merino wool, alpaca, and silk. And then this one is 100% merino, and it's singles. It is so soft. It is so pretty, but it's just blowing out. You can't see that. So yeah, and there is still so much color left in the dye bath. I am running out of yarn to dye though. So I'm gonna have to order some more yarn very soon, but I have still saved the dye bath. I don't know if I will try to get a even paler shade of yellow. I probably will. And then I was thinking maybe I could use it and try out like combining it with another color, because I'm going to be dyeing with some avocado later on today, and that would give me a pink. And so if I combined like yellow and pink, I wonder if I could get like an orange just from combining some of the dye bath together. I don't know, so I might do a little bit of experimenting in that, going like kind of that direction with things. So yeah, so I've got, I mean, look at these so far. This is what I've got. I've got yellows. I've got this beautiful tan. This was from Oak Leaves. It's a lighter shade than the one that you saw on the sweater that I'm working on. But so far I've got these, and then I've got to go get it. I'm so excited to show you what I just got out of the dye bath yesterday and today. So hold on a second. Okay. So the second place that Owen and I went on Sunday was in Cold Spring Harbor, which is just a neighboring town to Huntington, so really close to my husband's work. I think it's called Wawapek Nature Preserve or something, and it's part of the North Shore Land Alliance. And when I got there, I ran into some people who worked there, and I asked if it was okay to forage, and they said, sure, go for it. So the very first thing that we found there was black walnut trees, and there were black walnuts on the ground. Owen had a blast too. We found, at that place, he found a woodpecker feather. He found a feather from, what kind of owl is that called? The one with the horns. Why can I not think of the name of this owl? The horned owl. Why can I not think of the name of the owl? Anyway, and he found a bald eagle egg, this like huge egg. So Owen scored big time. I scored big time at this place. It was amazing. So I collected a bunch of black walnuts. I don't have them anymore to show you, but I took a picture, so I will insert a picture of what I found. And I got right away to, oh my gosh, you guys, it stains. Look at my thumb. You guys see my thumb? And this was, I had rubber gloves on. After my disposable gloves had a hole in them and I stained my thumb, I had rubber gloves on because this stuff stains. You can actually make a wood stain from black walnut in case you guys ever want to do that. But I dyed some yarn. It is so beautiful. So it's still wet, actually. At the bottom, it is still very wet. It is such a deep, dark shade of brown. I actually had 3 different bases, and I decided to test it on each of the 3 bases. So this one in the front right here is probably the lightest of the 3. And this is the singles, so this is 100% merino. There's another plane flying ahead. I apologize. I'll just wait that out. And the great thing about black walnut too is that you do not need a mordant for it. So this is 100% merino wool in a singles form. And then this one, This one here is the alpaca merino silk blend. So it's a little bit deeper brown. And then this bottom one is the sock yarn. It's 80% merino, 20% nylon. So I mean, those three shades, they're all pretty consistent. It's such a gorgeous shade of brown, and there was so much color in the dye bath that you can bet I put in some more yarn. So this one, I just pulled out. You can see it's lighter, which is to be expected. So it's the same 3 bases, one of each, and it's a bit lighter. And so I'm actually still going to put 3 more skeins into this dye bath because it's all the black walnut that I have until I go back. And so what I did was, for this 3rd dye bath, I just put in, I have like the walnuts and all the pieces from that I used to make the dye bath the first time, and it's all wrapped in cheesecloth. And so I stuck that back in the dye pot and I boiled it now a 2nd time to see if I could extract any further color from what I had pulled out originally. So I had just did that. That's waiting. It's on the stove right now cooling, and so I am going to put 3 more skeins in tonight once that is cooled. I'm kind of thinking maybe there could be like a gradient type of the different browns, depending on how similar or different they look. I'm not really sure. But it's so pretty, especially this first one. So you can see like how dark it is where it's still wet there at the bottom. But oh my gosh, in the natural light, these browns are just so gorgeous. So I'm very excited to have finally gotten to play around with some black walnut. I'm gonna go back to this place in a few weeks because I want to get more black walnut, but also because they had pokeberry there, and I would have taken some, except the berries hadn't formed yet. And the pokeberries, I think that it's not a fugitive dye the way that like blackberries and other things are that will fade. The color will fade with time. I think that this is a more color fast berry from the little bit of reading that I've done, but it's like a fuchsia that it is supposed to give. And so I had never even heard of pokeberries before, but once I had my little the Seek app. If you guys don't know, I think it might be National Geographic. I could be wrong about that, but there's an app called Seek, S-E-E-K, and I have been using that on our walks with Owen and it like identifies the plants for you, or will at least get you in the right direction of what a plant is. And so I was able to confirm that what I was looking at was in fact pokeberry, and so I just have to wait it out for a few weeks until the berries ripen on them. And I know that now I'm allowed to do some foraging there, so I'm excited to go back with my little garden shears and clip a whole bunch of those berries for, oh my goodness, or just pick some berries for dyeing, because oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it because that's my favorite color. So I'm having so much fun. If you guys can't tell, I am down to like my last 7 skeins of yarn, I think, now to dye. And those are probably all going to be done tonight and tomorrow with the avocado, because I have a whole bunch of avocado. I've had some of it frozen for like over a year, and I've had some frozen for a few weeks, and I have some freshly eaten avocado that is just out on the counter waiting for me to make the dye bath tonight. But I was able, the first and only time I played with the avocado, I was able to get a really beautiful pink with it. So I'm pretty sure that all of the rest of my skeins are going to go into 2 different avocado baths. So I'll have like an initial, like probably 4 skeins in the first bath, and then the last 3 in a second dye bath if I still have enough color, because I just think that that is just going to be beautiful. And then I need to order more yarn because I still have so many things just waiting for me to dye with. Oh my goodness. Mushrooms. I have learned that you can dye with mushrooms. Not all mushrooms, but certain ones. So I have been going around, Owen and I have been like trying to find all different kinds of mushrooms, and then I'm trying to I've joined mushroom identification groups, and I've got a mushroom identifying app on my phone. There is a great group on Facebook called Mushroom and Lichen Dyers United, and they are very knowledgeable. And so if you have any interest in dyeing with mushrooms or with lichen at all, then go join that group because they've been really helpful. I have found now most of the mushrooms that I'm finding are dyeing duds, as they say, but I have 2 types of mushrooms that I have found that are sitting in my freezer that are supposed to be really good for dyeing. And the tricky thing about mushrooms is that the pH level has a really big impact on the color that you're going to get. And so one of the 2 mushrooms that I have ready to experiment with is supposed to, with patience and the right pH level, it's supposed to give me like a blue-green, which is like one of those really hard to get colors from natural dyeing. So I just ordered, or my husband just ordered me some pH paper and some, what is it called? It's not baking soda, soda ash maybe, or washing soda. Yeah, washing soda. And then you can go the other way to get on the other side, and you can use white vinegar too. So depending on I've got to do a whole lot of research. But yeah, so Owen and I have been out hunched over foraging for mushrooms. Who am I? I don't know who I am, but I love this so much. I enjoy the foraging part just as much as I enjoy the dyeing part, maybe even more. There's just something about getting outside all day with your kid and just walking through the woods and going like treasure hunting. Yeah, it is amazing. So I think that that's all that I have for you guys today. It's kind of, this episode was maybe a little bit all over the place, kind of a lot going on. Yeah, so I am just having a blast over here, just knitting and spinning and foraging and dyeing, and oh my goodness, it is so fun. I'm really finding a reason to enjoy the summer. I used to hate the summer, but actually going out and exploring, it has been the best. It has been such a fun way to spend time with Owen, and it's really fun watching him be like, Mommy, an oat gall, or Mommy, a mushroom. What about this one? Is this a good one? Can you get dye out of this one? I'm like, I don't know. Let's find out. There are some that I know now are like not dyers, so I can look at them and be like, all right, that one I know is not going to give me color, so we'll just leave that one there. And then I'm basically, if I'm not sure, I take pictures, and I might take a little sample if I think it might give me color. And then if I have confirmed as a dyer, I am putting it in my freezer and just waiting until I have more yarn to dye up and my pH paper and yeah, everything. So thank you guys, all of you, so much for subscribing and helping me finally get to this 2,000 subscriber milestone, which I have been after for like 4 months now or something. I have just been crawling crawling my way up there, and I never thought I was gonna hit it, and finally you guys helped me hit it this past week, and it is just thrilling. So thank you guys so much for liking my videos and for subscribing. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I am looking forward to sharing more with you next week. Have a wonderful day, week, weekend, month, summer, whatever you're doing. Have a wonderful time, and I will check back in with you guys all soon. Bye.